Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, May 11th, 2026. One of the top stories, the American passengers from the MV Hondius have been flown to Omaha, Nebraska for quarantine. And I think the internet just dropped out there as soon as we start the stream. That's funny. I hadn't had any issues all day. All right. Anyhow, I was just saying, big story today. The MV Hondius passengers flown to Omaha, Nebraska. I've always thought it's funny that the major quarantine center for the U.S. is right in the heart of the country. You think it might make more sense if it was on an island out in the ocean rather than dead center of the country. But anyway, I want you to see how perfect these patterns are. And if you've been following my work, we've talked about how the outbreak began April 6th, 4/6 as we write it in the country, exactly 46 weeks from the pandemic agreement by the World Health Organization, which occurred last year, May 20th, 2025, which is about making sure that in the next pandemic, everybody gets pokey-doked really quick. And all the other numerous 46s connected to this outbreak, including the viral post by Soothsayer on Twitter predicting the Hantavirus pandemic of 2026, which was predicted 199 weeks before the outbreak, which is the 46th prime number, not to mention the gematria of Soothsayer's 46. And we've talked about things like how Moderna began producing a vaccine for hantavirus in Korea in 2024, which was 46 years after hantavirus was isolated in Korea in 1978. And the 78 part's really interesting because where the pandemic agreement occurred, it was at the 78th World Health Assembly. So something else that needs to be brought up about this 46 pattern is patient 0 was named on May 9th by the numbers. Again, if you're new here, this practice of coding numbers into words comes from Kabbalah. It's very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards, just using the alphabetic order forwards and backwards, and also applying numerology to each letter. But patient 0, his name is Leo, and there's varying spellings of his name because there's the Dutch version. But his name is Leo, and he's 70 years old, just like how Pope Leo is 70 years old right now. And I'm always educating about how all roads lead to Rome. Again, if you didn't read my book on coronavirus, it's out there. I showed how everything was synced up with the Jesuits and the Pope. And here we go again with hantavirus. But yeah, this book's out there. I would encourage every single person to read this book if you haven't read it, because it educates about this knowledge, why they use it, and how practical it is. It allows you to see through pretty much every psychological operation ran against you. But notice, the cruise ship, supposedly the MV Hondius, departed from Pope Francis's country, who Pope Leo replaced when Pope Francis died on Rome's birthday by the numbers. Again, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 111, dead on the 111th day of the year, Rome's birthday, and on and on and on. But look at this. From Pope Leo's 70th birthday to the departure of the MV Hondius was 199 days, the 46th prime, this big virus number. So anyway, today the quarantine goes to Omaha, Nebraska, which equates to 46. And in Omaha is the Jesuit University, Creighton. Notice it's 251 days after Creighton's establishment anniversary, which was in the year 1878, a century before they found hantavirus. And for all the people leaving the comment that hanta means a scam in Hebrew, I'd appreciate you guys actually watch my videos. We've covered that in about 3 videos now. I appreciate you sharing the information, but it just goes to show you're not supporting the channel by watching the content. Anyway, Creighton University, from their establishment date to today, 251 days, the day the quarantine happens in Omaha, where Creighton is. 251 is the 54th prime. Notice Jesuit order and Creighton have that gematria overlap. The facility there in Omaha is named after a man named Edwin G. Davis. Remember, the Jesuit headquarters is the Church of the Jesuit, spelled with a G. Modern Freemasonry uses the G for their logo. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. The Jesuit headquarters is the Church of the Jesuit, Building 54. Again, at their peak, the Jesuits had 54 universities in the U.S. The first was founded by a 54-year-old John Carroll, whose name equals 54. And don't forget how this cruise ship departed the same day as the Artemis moon launch. And it was April 6th, where they named the new crater Carroll on the moon. They say 35 craters are on the moon are named after Jesuit priests. Carroll is a prominent Jesuit family, the Carroll family. Again, the only Catholic signer on the Declaration of Independence is a Carroll, who's related to John Carroll, who founded Georgetown at age 54. And again, John Carroll equals 54 as well. But anyway, don't forget, there's something going on with the Artemis moon mission, because I was talking about how they named the crater Carroll after the astronaut whose wife died, what was it, 2 days after Trump declared the moon shot? I was like, moon shots. Now this moon mission. But anyway, and now Hantavirus and talk of more shots. But anyway, Edwin G. Davis, 54. Notice Omaha's coordinates, the 41st parallel, right? They said that ship departed April 1st. Today's 40 days later, or a span of 41 days. Today is the 41st total day since 4/1 April Fool's Day that they arrive in Omaha on the 41st parallel north. And never mind the 95th meridian, because, of course, the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses. But in light of all this 54 business, too, remember, where they departed from, the cruise ship on April 1st, it's on the 54th parallel south. And look at the gematria of the town they departed from, 46, right? So all these 46s. And you can see that Omaha, Nebraska, and the departure place, they have a lot of numbers in common. 46, 80. Trump's about to turn 80. That's a big Satan number for the record. And again, the Jesuits are wolves in sheep's clothing, seemingly behind the Church of Satan, as we've talked about so many times. And you can see that by what's encoded in the Church of Satan, and also Anton LaVey, the founder, and his death. But anyway, it's a whole nother topic, sort of related. Anyhow, Omaha, Nebraska, also 109 like military. A reminder that when they do the pokey-tokes, they're developed by the military. Nobody gets more pokey-dokes than members of the military. And then also, not to be overlooked, Nebraska equals 26, like virus. Like here we are in 2026. Again, like how April 6th, the outbreak day, 4/6, was 26 days after March 11th, the 6th anniversary of Cooties 19. And when you spell out sixth as a word, it equals 26. And we all remember standing 6 feet apart and six this, six that. You can see how virus equals 89. We've talked about how Morgan Freeman and Dustin Hoffman turned 89 this year, and they're in Outbreak, which is about Hantavirus. And we're going to look more at that as we go into the history. I wanted to start with this quarantine because it's today's news. And then I want to talk about the full history of Hantavirus up to the present. Here we are in 2026. But yeah, you can see the gematria for virus, 89, 26, 46, also 37. With regards to the quarantine state being Nebraska, it is the 37th state. And by the way, the day that ship departed on April Fool's Day, that was 37 days from the anniversary of Pope Leo becoming the Pope on May 8th. Pope Leo XIV equals 41, like 4/1 April Fool's Day, and 58. And if you missed my work on the Artemis launch, it was super synced with the Pope and the Superior General. The Superior General is the leader of the Jesuits. By the way, Nebraska's establishment date, March 1st. Today is 71 days after the establishment date. Nebraska also equals 71, as does Catholic, as does the Society of Jesus. Or a span of 72 days. And remember, we once got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. Jesuit order also equates to 72. So again, I'm just making the point about how all roads are leading into Rome, and the same usual suspect numbers are all over this ritualism. And you have to see that it's a ritual for all of this to be so perfect. Remember Tenerife, where they just unloaded the ship, another 46 location. There's just been so many 46s in this. The outbreak on 4/6. National Quarantine Unit, you guys, where the people were taken to in Omaha, that has a gematria of 135. In 2 days, it'll be the 13th of May. I'm very curious what we see in the news on the 13th of May. As we talked about, 13th of May will be 201 weeks after the Georgia Guidestones fell down. and they fell down 201 days after Pope Francis's birthday, the first Jesuit pope, whose name equals 201, like the Jesuit order. Again, if you need to get caught up, there's a lot of 201s in this current pandemic story, just like there was with coronavirus, which was simulated with Event 201. This story hit a fever pitch the same day that Ted Turner died, who established CNN 2 months from the Georgia Guidestones going up. And again, this outbreak is now traced to patient 0 who was bird watching. The outbreak date, April 6th, the 96th day of the year in 1996. Again, Ted Turner gave his interview to the Audubon Society having to do with birds about how the world's population needs to be reduced to as low as 200 million. So that had to do with birds, bird watching, this story intersecting with Ted Turner. Mr. Depopulation, like a number of people on the world stage. But yeah, also look at the title of this quarantine unit. It is located within the Dr. Edwin G. and Dorothy Balbach Davis Global Center. Dr. Edwin G. Dorothy Balbach Davis Global Center. The ampersand, I hate how Derek, when Derek updated his calculator, if you put an ampersand in there, it just gets rid of it because it's a null value. Derek, for the love of God, put it back in the calculator and just show it as a null value. Because, I mean, imagine you're new. You're like, well, where's the ampersand? It used to show up. Derek did an update on the calculator maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago now, and now it doesn't show the ampersand when it's part of a sentence. So anyway, it's still 666 regardless. I'm using it the exact way it's written here with the ampersand. And if you weren't here during the time of Cooties 19, 666 was a big deal. The first Cooties 19 simulation was May 15th, 2018, called CladeX, which equaled 113. The pandemic was declared on the 11th day of the 3rd month. By the way, here we are on the 11th again, the old master number. But the pandemic was declared 666 days after the first Cooties 19 simulation, CladeX, given May 15th, 2018 on Mercuralia, another Roman thing. 2 years to the day of Trump declaring Operation Warp Speed. And again, in the Bible, you must receive the mark 666 if you want to buy or sell. There's something called Sumerian gematria, where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. Vaccination equals 666. You had to receive the Pokédoke if you wanted to buy or sell or participate in society with a lot of places, as many people know, who submitted to getting it so they could maintain their way of life. Biblical riddles. And I noticed the area code there in Omaha is 402, and the place is on 42nd and Emil. Uh-oh, my daughter's waking up, and I'm just getting started. Hold on, I'll be right back. We'll see if she can be patient with me while I get into some other things. Okay. All right, we'll try to move through this as efficiently as possible here. So the doctor who first isolated hantavirus in 78, he said it traced back to the Korean War. And notice how hantavirus has the 43 like Korean War. And you can see how South Korea and hantavirus have this triple overlap. It's named after a river in South Korea, the Hantan River. And of course, pandemic has the 43. And pandemic also has the 38. And the river it's named after is on the 38th parallel, which is quite interesting. And with regards to 43, the first outbreak was in 93, known as the Four Corners outbreak. And they referred to it as the Sin Nombre virus in 93, Sin Nombre 46. It impacted Navajo Nation mostly, targeted natives like smallpox, like the first case in the world of Cooties 19 was in Seattle, named after Chief Seattle. By the way, Microsoft 46, since Bill Gates was the face of the whole thing, but Navajo Nation 46, like Sin Nombre. Sin Nombre also 134, and that outbreak began May 14th. So we're almost 33 years to the day, and we all know about 33. 33rd parallel runs through New Mexico, where the outbreak happened. And remember, we just heard about Gene Hackman's wife dying from Hantavirus in New Mexico. But yeah, May 14th, 93 was the start of the outbreak, which is the 134th day of the year, and they were calling it Sin Nombre 134. The movie Outbreak came out, having to do with Hantavirus, 43 weeks, a span of 43 weeks later. 43 weeks, the release date. What is it, sweet love? You want to walk around? Want to get cuddly? You want to get cuddly? Come here. Okay. Now, for the record, the word outbreak equals 93, since the first hantavirus outbreak was in 93. And yeah, they said 33 confirmed cases in the Four Corner states. Now here we are 33 years later. 33 confirmed cases. What else is new? Four Corners hantavirus outbreak, as it was known, 135. So again, May 13th, going to be an interesting day. One day before the anniversary of that outbreak. And where the person was traveling to, the 19-year-old who was patient zero, he was traveling to McKinley County. I noticed that McKinley equaled 38 and 43. And just a reminder, Betsy Arakawa, Gene Hackman's wife, who supposedly died from hantavirus on February 12th, the 43rd day of the year, she was 65. Hantavirus, 43 and 65, like pandemic. And from the announcement by the public of Gene Hackman and his wife's death on February 27th. Oh, no, sweet love. Are you okay? Are you okay, sleepy girl? You can sleep as long as I thought you would. From the announcement of their deaths to April 6th, this recent outbreak, 403 days. They said that they died on February 26th, which is 404 days to the outbreak. Again, the CDC's in the 404 area code, and Revelation, with the whole story of 666, Revelation's 404 verses. They announced on 3/7 that Betsy Arakawa died from hantavirus on 3/7. Her name equals 37, like virus. Again, their cruise ship with Leo, patient zero, departed 37 days before the anniversary of Pope Leo becoming the Pope. Quarantine zone in the 37th state, right in the heart of the country. So yeah, I covered a lot of this, but I wanted to make sure these additional details are in there. And again, in the movie Outbreak, Dustin Hoffman and Morgan Freeman star, just, Dustin Hoffman's character, aka Rain Man, Colonel Sam Daniels, 65, like pandemic, which was a huge number with Cooties 19. Dustin Hoffman has the 201 in his name. In Outbreak, it begins in the Mataba River Valley, which has the same gematria, 201, which is encoded on this cruise ship as well, that has the ship's named after Joducus Hondius, which equals 201. But yeah, these same numbers came up in major ways with Cooties rituals and Gavi, the establishment of Gavi by Bill Gates' Pokey Doke Alliance. Yeah, and if you missed this, by the way, Gene Hackman and his wife died in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which has a lot of overlap with the Jesuit order. The 177's also encoded in the man who the ship is named after, the MV Hondius. And don't forget, Pfizer's turning 177 years old this year. Hate to invest in the evil empire, but it's hard to imagine things aren't going to go north for them. And yeah, in case you didn't know this detail about Moderna, which is one of their founders, is a Jesuit who was born on the 201st day of the year. doing this research starting in 2024 to develop a hantavirus vaccine. Again, that was 46 years after 1978. And the name of the school, Korea University College of Medicine, also 177. So redundant. And by the way, from Pope Francis dying to the outbreak, 351 days, the 26 triangular number, again, since the boat came from his country, Argentina. And don't forget, Argentina had the total eclipse the day that the cooties jab went live in the U.S., and Corona does have to do with the light that shows around the sun in the time of a total eclipse. MV Hondius Hantavirus outbreak, as they're calling this thing, also 351. Pope dies. New Pope Leo, Patient Zero Leo, a Dutch ornithologist, 96. I need to look more into what an ornithologist is. Yeah, again, story hits a fever pitch as Ted Turner dies, who told the bird watching organization, the Audubon, in 96, that, again, yeah, that's who Ted Turner gave his infamous remarks to, that the world's population needs to be severely reduced. Or something else. Yeah, and I did just upload a short video. It'll be on the videos tab about the 22-foot golden statue of Trump that was unveiled yesterday that's created controversy. People saying it's a golden calf, and they're right, it is. Trump's 79 years old right now. Again, 79th element on the periodic table's gold. 79 is the 22nd prime, abbreviated AU. AU adds up to 22. The man who led the ceremony for the unveiling of the statue, John Mark Burns, has some very interesting gematria, but notice the 79 in his name, just like golden calf. And he said this isn't the golden calf. One wonders if he was chosen by the puppeteers and he has no idea about all this encoding. And yeah, the golden calf in the Bible relates to biblical Israel, which really isn't modern day Israel, but you know that the certain people try to draw those parallels. Yesterday, Netanyahu on 60 Minutes saying the war isn't over. And yeah, just for the record, from Trump taking office to this golden statue, this 22-foot golden statue being unveiled at the golf course, 68 weeks. Golf, 68 and 22. Perfect ritualism. Yeah, and in case you missed Netanyahu on 60 Minutes, yeah, he said the war isn't over. Remember, Israel attacked Iran last year on June 13th, going with the 613 mitzvahs in the Bible, but also the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Of course, Netanyahu left power on that day as well, and then came back on 12/29, where 1229 is the 201st prime. And again, you learn this 201 code, you see who's really running the world. From your latest pandemic story to who really controls the puppet strings to Israel. Of course, it's the Vatican. The 201 gang. All right. Sweet girl is pretty relaxed right now. I think she's still tired because she should have slept for about at least 30 more minutes. She woke up a little bit early. I'm going to drop the link for anybody who has anything else to share about this. And I'll go as long as she'll just stay relaxed here in my arms. So, who's up there on the screen, big cutie? We have one person in the back. If you want to join soon. We got Mixed Tello. What's up, Mixed Tello?
Yo, why did you lie about your wife doing holistic alternatives at her clinic?
What?
You can hear me?
What'd you say?
Why you lie about your wife doing holistic alternative methods at her own clinic? You know that's illegal.
That's not what I said. I said she tries to give people good advice about how they can cut down on their meds and to think twice.
Because did you?
All right. Anyway, this is totally off topic. What's up, Marco?
Yeah, no, this stuff is getting rather interesting. I wanted to add to the Hondius situation with some other stuff that I just found out about the Jesuit general. Listen, last time I was on, or a couple times ago before, we talked about how the Jesuit general, he goes to certain areas to check up on certain missions before they roll out. Same thing happened here with what we see with the Canary Islands, and also where people are landing right now in Nebraska. In 2023, the Jesuit general, on Halloween of all days, he visits the Canary Islands. And then from that particular article, I was able to see that apparently he has family roots in the Canary Islands. So that was kind of shocking. But also in regards to Hondius, that has to do with 40 Jesuits that were martyred on Canary Island. So it looks like the Jesuits are about to get some revenge. Let me just tell you, hey, there's another connection no one's making. We've been talking about this at beingjustified.com with our weekly report, the Watchmen Report. And there's a zombie film that came out in 2024 on Amazon Prime called Apocalypse Z, The Beginning of the End. And it's based on a zombie epidemic that comes from a virus. This is going to make you laugh. It made me laugh. The virus is called TSJ virus. I'm like, oh, the Society of Jesus virus. Nice. But it's a virus that then turns people into like rabid zombies. And out of all places, the Canary Islands. That's where it goes down. But listen, it's going down, y'all. What we are witnessing right now with this Hanta crap, like I said, it's the cover-up for what's going to come from the COVID jab with the singularity, with the supernova. Like I said, 8.2 is looking really good. But Elon Musk, we know he's part of this show. But Elon Musk, he said a couple times that the singularity is this year. So remember, we're in the golden age of eclipses. We got one coming up on August 12th. We also have one August 2nd, and also in 2028 going over Australia with the corona. I think it's going to be, what everybody has been watching with Pluribus, that event where people just go with Pluribus, that's going to most likely happen what looks to be on the eclipse of the century next year. We are going towards an event. The singularity, the supernova, they're going to rage, okay? All we're witnessing right now is the actual buildup to it. They're establishing the narrative to what's going to happen with 70% of the world when they rage because of the juice that's on the loose.
That town that the ship departed from, because it's at the very bottom of the world, their town motto is the end of the world. Did you know that?
Yes. They listen, when I saw that, and what have I been telling you, Zach? It's the end of the world is at the door. I know who the beast is. It's Mohammed bin Salman. His name equals 666. He's a prince. When he does a peace deal with Israel, the real final countdown end of the world is going to start. It's all here. I'm just like, guys, but what's going to take us to the real mark of the beast is this rage, because without the mark of the beast coming up, you're going to have to deal with the rage. Okay. He's going to provide the solution to the rage coming up. And that's going to be his mark, the real mark of the beast coming up. But, listen, as a Bible believer, Zach, I never thought in a long time, this is how the devil would do it. I was like, it clearly looks like these dots are connecting to this sort of buildup. And these Jesuits, like I said, another aspect that surprised me is that you got the Jesuit general in the Canary Islands on Halloween in 2023. Apparently he has family roots there. That one really surprised me. But then, like I said, pay attention. You're the one that brought this to my attention with Hondius. And then I said, wait a minute, when was this guy alive? And it was at the start of he was also a proponent behind what they call the Hondius Atlas. But during his reign, this particular man oversaw the martyrdom of 40 Jesuits on the Canary Islands. So that really caught my attention. The Jesuits, they never forget, y'all. They never forget. They're going to get their revenge. That's what they're building up for right now. And, type it in. 40 Jesuits martyred Canary Islands by pirates. And that's the story you need to follow because it connects to Hondius. And it also connects, obviously, to the Jesuits that looks like they're getting some revenge coming up. But also, in regards to Nebraska, the Jesuit general was just there in 2024 in Omaha. Of all freaking look, like I said, man, look, whenever the general looks to be going to different places to do face-to-face meetings with his provincials and his high-level Jesuits, to get ready for the upcoming missions that they have. This is, look, if you look at it from the standpoint of just like years involved, well, listen, he was at the Canary Islands 3 years ago. 3 years ago. He was at Nebraska 2 years ago. And now what's transpiring there shows you why he's going to visit. All right, it's not because they're talking about Jesus, like I showed you, Zach. They're the Society of Judas. They got Hope for Judas coming up. But yeah, no, man, this stuff, it's, to me, I've been telling my audience, I know who the beast is. I know when he does a peace deal with Israel, the real end of the world is going to begin. To me, Zach, I've been saying this since 2020. It's a slow motion train wreck. Okay. The Bible also says, which with much wisdom comes much sorrow. I'm looking at this world like, man, it's waxing, boy. It's building up. I see it coming, man. And you know what? There's other new music videos that they just came out with recently as of yesterday when they, and think about this. Think about this. Let's go back to when everybody left the boat. It was on Mother's Day. And I've been telling you, the Vatican, that's Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Listen, the Vatican, there's going to be 10 kings that are going to burn her up. But she knows, the Vatican knows, the hierarchy knows. They know they can't beat God. They know that what's coming is what's written. They can't escape it. But what the Vatican has done with the vaccine and the rage and the zombies and the collapse of civilization coming up is they're burning it all down. It's like someone that basically says, if I can't have it, nobody can. And she's going to burn it all down coming up because she herself is going to be burned. And there's a song by the satanic rock band called Imagine Dragons. It's called Wake Up. I see you saying that all the time, Zach. Wake up. They have a song called Wake Up. And it says, everybody's coming for you. Wake up. It says, bodies piling up. I'm waist up. And then at the end, the song says, what you gonna do when they come for you? Winners hate to lose. They've been winning for a long time, but they know they're gonna lose. They can't avoid what's written. But what has happened on Mother's Day of all freaking days, you got Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. She unleashed the Hanta. They have established the narrative now that that rat virus has now entered the world. It's spread now. And I'm just like, guys, this is a slow motion train wreck. Get ready for the rage. Get some protection, y'all. Get some, you know what I'm saying? If your state is gun and ammo friendly, everybody's seen a zombie apocalypse film. Everybody. Yeah. I encourage everybody to watch this film. Also watch World War Z. That's what we got coming, man.
Interesting as always. Yeah, I see how this movie, they had it out October 5th and then on Halloween too for the release dates 2024, which is the same year that Moderna started to develop the Hanta jab. And I see it's 118 minutes, like MV Hondius is 118. We're talking about how that ship was ordered on November 8th. And we know that 118 is a number connected to death. So
these people, you know, and listen, there's another satanic rock band called Ghost. They have a song called Rats, man. And there's another song that they just released on May 6th this year from a Korean pop group. Listen, Zach, you're talking a lot about Korea right now. You need to start looking into K-pop. The devil is using Korean pop music right now to literally do songs about what's coming our way. They just had a new Korean pop group come out with another song just recently on May 6th, 5/6, and it's called Knock Knock. And it says, we're about to explode. Knock, knock, knocking on your door. And they look like a bunch of zombies at your door right in front of the freaking street. And I'm just like, yo, man. And then they're ballsy enough to actually even show you. They're showing you a rat coming out of some hole at the beginning of the music video and at the end of it. I'm just like, all right. It's going down, y'all. It's going down. We are witnessing the buildup to it. This is actually the final narrative. This is the narrative. Hanta is the narrative to get us to what's going to happen to the COVID jab. That's, mark my words. Mark it down. Mark it down. All right. We are watching it. We are watching it, and they're doing it. That just shows you they are steadfast, y'all. They are steadfast. They're on a schedule. We're on a schedule. And, you know, it's rather crazy. And like I said, I haven't seen nobody in the community connected to this Apocalypse Z film. I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute. I remember covering this when it came out. And I said, was it at the Canary Islands? I said, oh, my goodness, man. And almost
this movie. I didn't know this movie existed.
Bro, you know, what really caught my attention on it, I didn't know it was a zombie film, but I was just like, apocalypse. Okay, what's this about? Oh, got it. Z. Okay, the beginning of the end. I did watch it. They made mentions to COVID in the film. That's what's rather interesting. They made mentions to COVID, but the actual virus, apparently, this fictitious virus, is called the TSJ virus. And when I saw that, I said, man, these people are, they're laughing. They're laughing their way to the end. And I was like, TSJ, huh? Really? The Society of Jesus virus. That's what everybody got. But yeah, man, that's one connection that it's undeniable, really. Like, really, the Canary Islands. All right. But yeah, no, there's another Korean pop group that just came out with a song called Whole Different Animal. Because essentially what I've been telling my audience is that don't be high-minded in thinking we see it coming. We know we've seen this before. Oh, yeah, just like with the cooties. Oh, we've seen this before. I know what's coming. Don't comply. Don't come. I said, listen, what we got coming next is a whole different animal now with 70% of the world with the juice that's on the loose.
Look at this, you guys. It was 78 weeks and a couple days from this movie coming out when it debuted to April 6th. In light of what we've been saying about Hantavirus from 78 and the 78th World Health Assembly. And then I'm also just thinking about this date, October 5th. I mean, what day did the ship arrive in Spain? On May 10th. Both those dates can be written 10-5, 5-10. We talked about how that cruise liner that owns the MV Hondius, how the name of that cruise liner equals 105. It also equals 321, like a countdown. And the outbreak, April 6th day, was 321 days after the pandemic agreement. So yeah, this definitely looks like it's part of the ritual, part of the predictive programming, which would only make sense. Amazon was doing all kinds of things synced up with the predictive programming for cooties. So why wouldn't it be the same now?
And listen, I've been telling my audience too that they've done this before. The Jesuits have already done a zombie apocalypse before. They just covered up really well. In 1994, the Rwanda genocide was them testing out some stuff. With what they also call like Operation Crimson Mist. But it happened, that particular operation in Rwanda is most likely where they activated some people, essentially created some zombies, and close to 1 million people died in 100 days. But that operation was done with Paul Kagame, who is still the leader of Rwanda to this day. And it was 201 days before his upcoming birthday when the Rwanda genocide started by a Jesuit-educated president from Rwanda that went down in a plane crash to justify the rage. Okay, they had to get a narrative to justify people getting angry to then go off and kill. And that's what happened with the Rwanda genocide. What we have now, though, is a different story. Now we got 70% of global population that's about to rage. And also, there's another film called Gangnam Zombie. It's in Korea, and it includes COVID, and it's essentially where a cat scratches somebody during the COVID outbreak, and then he turns into a zombie, and it starts this whole epidemic in Gangnam, in the Gangnam district of South Korea. Guys, get ready, y'all. All right, we got the killer thriller coming, man. All right, the other thing is this. Justin Timberlake, he has a song. I play it all the time for my audience. It's called Supplies, okay? In this song, Justin Timberlake.
That's the one where they're at the library with the power out, right?
Yeah, and he's straight up telling you. He's like, some crap is about to go down. He's like, the world could end now, baby. I'll be the one with the level head because we'll be living in the Walking Dead. It's in the lyrics, y'all. It's in the lyrics. And he knows what's coming. See, Justin, he's moved from California and he moved over to Tennessee. He's trying to probably get a better situation when the rage hits. Same thing with like Zuckerface. Zuckerberg, he bought some sort of a bunker up in Hawaii. These people at the high levels, they know what's coming. They got their bunkers ready. Elon Musk, I actually asked Elon, I said, Elon, where's your bunker going to be, Elon? These people, Elon, he's another wicked little bastard, but he's been hinting at not only cannibalism recently, but he's also been saying, I've had a lot of nightmares recently about AI. I was like, I wonder why, Elon. I wonder why. Don't forget, Elon, if you have eyes to see, man, they'll throw this out from time to time just to see who's paying attention. But Elon said the singularity is this year. But also, another time he mentioned that artificial intelligence is going to one-shot the human limbic system. That is the supernova. That is the singularity. When the COVID AI is going to take over the brain. Okay, it's going to one-shot, it's going to kill them, and then they're going to be brought back by that AI. That AI is going to take over. And this is going to be, and listen, here's another connection with the singularity that I recently took note of. When I was at the Vatican, I'm watching the Pope come out to speak on his stupid balcony on Sunday. But then I'm looking at his logo and I forgot. I was like, what does his logo mean? And it says, in the one, we are one. It's a singularity homage, okay? Leo, the reason also why we got Leo coming up for right now is because during the eclipses coming up, they're going to be ruled over, astrologically speaking, by Leo, the constellation. So, and they're also going to be both in August, and it comes from the Augustinian order. So there's an homage there to singularity and also who rules over the eclipses coming up. And like I said, I don't think it's this year, although Elon, he said the singularity is this year. But I think it's the one next year, the eclipse of the century. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal when this event actually unfolds.
Yeah, so it seems. I think later this year, things are going to get really interesting. So.
Yeah. Right now, think about the narratives. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're living at a time where in the mainstream media, they're talking about virus, they're talking about aliens, they're talking about Iran war. I'm like, yo, man, this is, guys, and like I told you, Zach, there's that group that just came out with that song called Whole Different Animal. I'm looking forward to their album. I'm looking forward to other videos because they've actually shown us, like I told you, they're showing us the creatures that are going to ascend from the bottomless pit by the middle of the tribulation. They look like horses. They got scorpion tails. They got wings. I'm like gobsmacked at this point to be like, wow, they're very ballsy. They really don't care at this point. They're literally showing you the locusts that are going to ascend from the bottomless pit pretty soon. But that's by the middle of the tribulation as we head into the midnight hour. Like I said, when they talk about the midnight hour, that's the middle of the tribulation. Look, for your audience, the real end of the world is going to begin with Prince Mohammed bin Salman from Saudi Arabia. He's an Edomite. He's a child of Esau. He's going to do the deal with Jacob. That's going to start Israel's final prophetic 70th week. That's the end of the world. And then 3.5 years later, they're going to kill that man. He's going to come back to life. And then his real mark is going to be promoted by the final pope. And it might not be Leo. I don't even think it's going to be Leo that's going to be the final pope and false prophet. I think it might be someone else, like the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Pier Battista Pizzaballa, who I have actually met.
All right, Marco. She's starting to give me the sign. She's ready to probably get some food after waking up. Closing words, something you want people to look up. Marco's website, you guys, is beingjustified.com. Beingjustified.com. Anything else you want to tell them?
No, that's about it. Thanks for plugging it. I have weekly reports Monday, Wednesday, Friday. As a matter of fact, once I'm done here, I'm going to grab a little bite to eat, and then I'm going to do my Monday edition of the report where, like I said, all we're doing is looking at the news and connecting the dots in light of Bible prophecy rightly divided.
Okay. All right, Marco. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. By the way, is this movie really gory, or how is it? Is it a gory movie?
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it with your daughter. It's not that gory, but it is kind of scary, so I wouldn't watch it with her.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't planning on that. I don't like really gory movies, so I just.
Yeah, no, this is not gory, but essentially the zombies, they look devil possessed. Essentially, they got these black eyes, and but they're ravenous. It's like they're runners. These are the running zombies.
I see. All right. See if there's any more clues in there I can pick up on. But yeah, good information, Marco.
And listen, check into the 40 martyrs from the Canary Islands and the connection to Hondius.
Okay. All right. Yeah, she's showing me the signs. I got to wrap it up. Thank you, Marco.
You're welcome.
All right, take care. Jay, if you guys want to share, I'll come back, but I got to get this one some food. She's getting fussy here. Jay, you there? Hello? I can't hear Jay. Jay? All right, we'll do it next time. Yeah, she's ready to eat, you guys. Thanks again, everyone who hits the like and the share and leaves a comment. Appreciate everyone who helps get the word out there. Till next time, True Seeker.